What up, Ciphermaniacs? It's your friendly hood Cipherman, and we are back! That's right, The Sopranos. Many Saints of Newark trailer. I've been wanting to watch it so bad. I was going to do a reaction to it, but I caved and I watched it. So what we're going to do now, instead of doing a reaction to the trailer, I'm just going to go ahead and break it down. I have a lot of Sopranos knowledge. I know there's people out there, other people on YouTube that like got this shit down to a whole science and everything. I'm not there yet, but I do know my Sopranos enough to get through this. We're going to break this down. Just, scene by scene, cut by cut, and we're going to get into this thing. So without further ado, let's check out the Many Saints of Newark. And if you don't know what the Many Saints of Newark means, all right, it's actually a prequel to the Sopranos show. This is supposed to be taking place in the 60s, I believe, whereas, the Sopranos took place in the 90s into the early 2000s. I watched every episode, every season, probably more times than there are seasons of that show. I've watched the entire series, so I know my shit here, and I'm going to break it down for y'all. So the Many Saints, it's a play on the name of one of the main characters of the original show. His name was Christopher Moltisanti, all right? His father was Dickie Moltisanti. Dickie never actually made an appearance in the show. He was long dead when the show first picked up, so it was just Christopher Moltisanti. But reference to his father, Dickie, was heavy in the show. And I believe when the show first started, there was the real dawn of the Sopranos. Jackie Aprile was the acting boss, and he was in the hospital with cancer, but the actual boss was in prison, I believe for life, because they don't really talk about him much, and he's not doing anything except rotting away in a cell, but giving his okay on who can take the reins next. And although they never said his name, that Don was Dickie Moltisanti's father, by the same name. His name was also Dickie Moltisanti, but they called him Hollywood Dickie.
We don't know. That's why there's a question mark on his face. That's not the way his face looks. That's just a question mark.
So Hollywood Dickie Moltisanti was like, the OG of the Sopranos family. And then you had Dickie Moltisanti, all right? Then you had Johnny Boy Soprano, who's also in the movie. That's Tony Soprano's father. That's the main character's father. Also didn't really make an appearance in the show except for flashbacks, but he was in there. Not played by John Bernthal like how this movie's gonna do, but Johnny Boy Soprano was in there. So you got Johnny Boy Soprano, you got Corrado Soprano, aka June or Uncle June Jr. That's Johnny Boy's brother, Tony Soprano's uncle. Okay. Then you had Tony Soprano, and then Christopher Moltisanti. So the name carries on, right? And Christopher Moltisanti is actually Tony Soprano's nephew. You're gonna find out, and this is something that you learn throughout the series, that Dickie Moltisanti, Christopher's father, Tony's uncle, actually brought Tony into the game the same way that Tony did to Christopher Moltisanti, Dickie's son. So it's like a generational experience that this family has, and I think that's really dope. That's very indicative to how the mafia really runs and operates. Is very family oriented. Not to say that people can't come from outside the bloodline and make a name for themselves within the family, get made and all that, but most of the time the reins get passed down through generations, most of the time. And that's what this is showing. Going back to what I was saying about the name, the Many Saints, it's a play off Christopher, Dickie, and Hollywood Dickie's last name, the Moltisantis. Multi-Saints. Many Saints. And this all takes place in Newark for decades. So it's the Many Saints of Newark. I think that is so fucking creative. They almost dropped the Many Saints of in the title. They almost dropped it. And it just was going to be called Newark. That would have been horrible. That wouldn't have spoke to me the same way that the Many Saints of Newark does. I think that's a fresh title. James Gandolfini actually played Tony Soprano. Michael Gandolfini is his son playing a young Tony in this movie. That's amazing. That's amazing. The only other time I've heard something like this in history was George Reeves played Superman in a TV show, and then Christopher Reeves played Superman in the Richard Donner Superman movie, and the Superman 1 all the way to 4. But they're playing the same character. at the same age. So that's one thing. This is something different. This is something different. Although it's very similar, it's still different because Michael Gandolfini is actually just playing a younger version of the character his father played, Tony Soprano. And that's amazing, man. Can you imagine if your father passed away and he played this beloved, brilliantly performed character named Tony Soprano, just the boss of bosses in Jersey, in this show that's still probably top 3 or top 5 to this day, definitely top 10 of all time. And you get to represent for him by playing the younger him. That's awesome. And I can just imagine what's going through this kid, what he's feeling right now. Just watching this trailer is amazing. And we're going to get into all that. So, I know it's the second time I'm saying it, but without further ado, let's get this video popping. All right, here we go. So, Newark, New Jersey. There's Michael Gandolfini. Spitting image of his father. This is young Tony Soprano right here. I love the Tony Soprano narration quotes that they're taking from the show to open up this trailer. I kind of hope they don't narrate too much throughout the movie. Let's do it like the show where there was no narration. Let's just show me, don't tell me. But for the trailer, it works. So he's at a payphone.
Like me, we're brought up to follow codes.
Hey, jerk off.
This guy right here. Now, what's got me a little confused is that they say here that this guy, John Magaro, is the one who's going to play Silvio Dante. That's what they're saying. But if you know The Sopranos and you know Silvio Dante, this is him. This is him, hands down. He's got the shrug, he's got the face, he's got the hair, he's got the leather jacket, the exact same leather jacket that Sil always wears. Now, there's another key moment here because I heard about this. I saw some behind the scenes footage because they're about to get in a fight. From what people reported, they said that they were both getting their shots in. Now, if you know anything about Tony Soprano in The Sopranos, it kind of goes like this, right? Whenever the character isn't important to the story, it's only important to fuel Tony, and Tony fights him, he just beats the shit out of him. It's very one-sided, the fight. There's no exchanging shots. There's none of that going on. Tony just dominates because that's what the scene calls for, okay? Now, anytime that he got into a fight with somebody that was important to the story and it wasn't just all about Tony, it would be an even exchange. It would be, some shots here, some shots there. Tony wouldn't just dominate people that were important to the story. I think that was just a choice that the directors or the writers or the creators made, just to show that the people that he runs with, although they're not as big as him, they can still hold their own. And I think they did a good job of showing that. Like, when he's smacking the shit out of some sucker, that's one thing, but when he's fighting another person that's in the family that got heart and balls like he does, it may not be so easy all the time, and that's how it goes. So they're trading shots. When I saw that and I heard that, I immediately thought it was Sil, but that the actor list didn't come out yet, so I didn't know about the Magaro guy. I still think I'm right. Even though IMDb is saying that, I still think I'm right. See, shows will do this sometimes. They'll do a little misdirect because they don't want to give anything away, right? They want to keep something a surprise. For instance, perfect example, the Wu-Tang saga. Wu-Tang and American Saga. What's his name? Shameik Moore was in there. But they wouldn't say who Shameik Moore was going to play. They actually gave him a fake name. You immediately find out right in the beginning, the first, scene, that it's Raekwon the chef. You know what I mean? It was a misdirect. Not telling us who was playing Raekwon and Shameik Moore in there with a different name and all that. I think that they're doing something similar here. I think that's what they're doing here, because you can't tell me that this is not Silvio Dante. And come October 1st, because it got pushed back again, it was supposed to come out in September, but it's coming out a week later, October 1st. Come October 1st, we're going to find out. But let's move on.
What'd you say? What?
The way he delivered that "What'd you say" line, damn, he nailed it. That's exactly how James Gandolfini would have delivered that line, to the T. That's Tony Soprano. That's Tony Soprano. There they go, changing shots.
Antonio Soprano.
So he's a loner. He's always been a loner. There's a big theme in the show that he feels alone all the time. So they're going with that.
I wonder if I can talk to you alone for a moment,
Mrs. Soprano is actually Livia Soprano, Johnny Boy's wife. As far as her character, I don't know the actress. I only know her as Livia Soprano. I think I've seen her in one or two other things. Livia Soprano was miserable. Not only was she miserable, but she would make Tony's life a living hell every chance she got. And I think she would always blame him for everything, like he made her life a living hell. So now she's giving it back to him, but she's giving it back to him in a very dangerous way. In a very dangerous way, because he's the Don of Newark, and he can't keep his own mother in line. That's a problem. You know, she would have a loose tongue, go out there and talk shit about him to other people and things like that. And I think here they're gonna touch on that relationship and how that relationship got spoiled. And I love it. Give me more. Vera Farmiga. You may know her from such films as The Departed. She was Paul Walker's wife in Running Scared. Phenomenal job in that movie as well. Like she really caught my eye in that one. I was just like, wow. And she's been in the last 3 Conjuring movies as well. I'm not a big fan of the Conjuring movies. I saw the 3rd one just because it was on HBO Max. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you if it was good or not. I can just tell you I was semi-entertained, but I don't even know if I like the movie because it's not my kind of movie. But this is my kind of shit. So let's see what Livia says.
Soprano. On the basis of the Stanford Binet, he's high IQ.
She's in the principal's office talking about Tony. And what's real funny is that Tony's mother in the show actually said one time, she basically said something along the lines of all the times that she was in the principal's office because of Tony. So this is a nice callback or a call forward. I don't know if it's a callback or a call forward in a prequel, but it's a call something. They're calling to that. On the basis of the Stanford Binet, he's high IQ. So he took the Stanford Binet IQ test, and he's got a really high IQ. Tony bragged about it a couple times in the show, and he actually is a really smart guy, the character. So this is showing that.
You can't prove it.
I love the cinematography. And right away, see, Livia Soprano, she doesn't even like her own son because the principal's telling her, hey, your son's very smart. Your son has a very high IQ. And what does she say to that? You can't prove it to me. He's got a D+ average.
By me, he's got a D+ average.
I don't like the prosthetic that they put on Vera. I think she is very beautiful, and this prosthetic, I think it's a prosthetic. I don't know if it's a prosthetic or just the way they did her makeup to contour her face. I mean, she does look like a young Livia Soprano. I'll give her that. But I mean, you're hiding this woman's good features.
Well, he doesn't apply himself, but he is smart.
That's a big theme throughout the show. All the adults in Tony's life, including Uncle June, basically tell him, you don't apply yourself. You don't follow through as well as you could. And that's what's been driven into his brain since this age.
The results tell us he's a leader.
Another theme, he's a great leader, and she scoffs because that's how Livia is. From David Chase, the original creator of The Sopranos. Dude's awesome.
Uncle Dick.
Uncle Dick. There's Dickie Moltisanti right there. Christopher's pops. Alright? This is where it begins. Satriali's. Even back then, Satriali's was their spot. They spent a lot of time outside of this pork store in the show talking business. Inside the store too. They spent a lot of time inside the store. That back room right there is very, very heavily used in the Sopranos show. So they're taking it back to the beginning and showing how long this Satriali's pork store has been in the family. That looked like a black dude, you know what I'm saying, a brother. You can see his hand busting out somebody's window, because there's a lot of racial tension in the 60s in Newark. I think there was even some race riots that they're going to touch on in this movie. A big part of it is that.
Takes a toll. You're my nephew.
Right there, he's saying, you're my nephew, you know. Since you're my nephew and I'm in this thing of ours, it's my duty to show you the ropes, and it's your birthright to absorb this and one day become a made guy, possibly a captain, possibly consigliere, or maybe even boss, which is where we all know that's where he's headed.
Nephew.
See, this is the guy right here that they're saying, that's Max Magaro. This is the guy that they're saying is playing Silvio Dante. I don't see it. First of all, he's balding. He's too old, because him and Tony are supposed to be like the same age. And Silvio has a beautiful head of hair in the show. Just black, just slicked back, piled up to here. The dude's got hair. This guy's balding. There's no way that that's Silvio Dante. Mark my words.
I want to do whatever I can to help you.
See, right there, he's showing him, I want to do whatever I can to help you. Basically put some money in his pocket, but you got to earn it. Nothing is free. That's why the captains are earners, because they got to earn that money and they got to kick it up to the boss. That's what he's teaching them.
My gift to you.
That guy right there, see the hand gesture? Paulie Walnuts. And that fits, because Paulie's actually older than Tony and Sil and all of them. Ralph and Jackie Aprile. And then right there with the dark skin and the hair, kind of chubby guy, that's Pussy Bumpin' Sarah, one of Tony's other best friends. I guess Tony really earns this guy respect because he looks much older. Tony earns both of these guys respect because both of them ride for him hard in the show. Well, you know, Pussy ends up snitching, but he doesn't feel happy about it. Paulie makes it to the end. Many times you think Paulie's not going to make it, but he makes it because that motherfucker's thorough. So yeah, that's Pussy, and that's Paulie.
I want to go to college.
Some stolen goods. Looks like some, that might have been a smash and grab because there's a bunch of TVs there or something like that. They do that. They'll steal a whole bunch of something, and then they'll keep a couple for themselves or pass them around to their friends, and then sell the rest, and then kick up to the boss.
I can't get caught with shit like this.
His delivery, man. His delivery in his face. That's Tony. I love this.
Look, you take the speakers, right? At the same time, you say to yourself, "This is the last time I'm ever gonna steal something."
I love that part. Because Dickie is sucking him in, and he's making it seem like it's not a bad thing, but it's a really bad thing that he's getting into. It's sure, they're gonna make a lot of money. They're gonna have reputations, and people are gonna fear them, love them, respect them, all of that. But it's a crazy life. And he's sucking him in. Look at him. He's right there. You see in his eyes like he's very interested. He wanted to go to college. But why go to college when you can go to the school of hard knocks and come out a millionaire? All you got to do is have balls.
It's that simple.
I like Dickie's performance too, when he's like, you just got to pretend like this is the last thing I'm going to ever steal. And you just got to say it to yourself. Even though you know it's not true, he's just giving them a little pep talk. That was Johnny Soprano. John Berthal is playing Johnny Soprano, Tony's pops. And that is awesome. As a matter of fact, that's Johnny Soprano, and that's Uncle June right there, his brother. Uncle June is a very love-hate relationship with Tony. I want to see what their chemistry. Well, grown up, it's a very love-hate relationship. I mean, they love each other, but at the same time, Tony's a big pain in the ass to June, and June is a bigger pain in the ass to Tony. Like, it's just the way it is. It's as family. You can't choose your family. There's a couple times they're at each other's throats. So I'm really interested to see how June treats young Tony in this movie. I think that's going to be really interesting to watch. And we all know Johnny Boy. Johnny Boy loved his son. You know, he didn't want that life for him. He never wanted that life for him. At least that's the way they showed it in the series. So I want to know what their relationship was like when Tony was just a little boy and Johnny Boy was out there running the streets.
Let me go talk to him.
He only listens to Dickie.
Look at that. That's Christopher and Tony, but Tony and Christopher. It's the reverse. So cool. But Livius says it right there in the trailer. He only listens to Dickie. That means he don't listen to his father, don't listen to his mother, don't listen to his uncle, don't listen to his friends. He's got 2 sisters. I think that might be Barbara right there, or maybe young Janice, one of the 2. But he does have 2 sisters. He don't listen to nobody. He's a hardhead, a knucklehead. And it looks like Dickie's the only one that can get through. Tanks in the street. This is the race riots that happened in Newark around this time. It was real bad, man. I don't know how many people lost their lives. I know there was a lot of destruction. Obviously, they had to bring in the military to quiet this down. That's how bad it got. But they're showing a bit of that too.
Gotta do something about Dickie Malasani.
That was Leslie Odom Jr. and he's playing somebody important, somebody who's apparently beefing with Dickie. That might be the same black dude or one of his peoples that shot through the window earlier in the trailer. But he's talking about something needs to be done about Dickie Moltisanti. So it's not going well between these 2 guys. They got beef. They were shooting it out right there. I don't know. Sometimes they'll cheat in trailers and they'll show, guys shooting at something. Then they'll show a window bust out. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the same scene. Could be, but maybe not. So they're shooting at each other. They're blowing up each other's warehouses and businesses. And it's a straight up mob war. That's what mob wars are like.
Maybe some of the things you do.
Dickie was pissed, throwing something off of the table. They brought somebody into see that? He's clearing off the table and then putting somebody into this onto this table in this auto body shop. And they're going to torture his ass because that's what the mob did a lot.
On God's favor.
That was Tony right there beating the shit out of Ice Cream Man. All right. It said legends aren't born, they're made. So this is the story of Dickie making Tony Soprano. That's what I'm seeing. So Ray Liotta's in this movie. I don't know if they stated who he's playing, but I'll tell you who I believe he is. I believe he's Hollywood Dickie. Let's see if they did say who he's playing. Ray Liotta. See? No name there. No name there. Another misdirect. That's Hollywood Dickie. You can't tell me it's not. I love that shot of Livia next to Johnny Boy's car because they had this car in the show. Look at her. She just looks beautiful right there. Like, blowing the smoke, the beehive hairdo. I love that time period. That time period was really cool looking, when cars were made out of metal and men were men, and kids, they didn't grow up too fast, but they grew up fast enough where they became men at the ages where they needed to become men. And that's what I think this story is. As far as for Tony, it's a coming of age story. It's when he stops being that kid at school and starts being that man on the street. That's where it looks like it's going.
By example.
There was Johnny Soprano shooting out a tire, and I bet you this is gonna be Christopher's mom. I don't remember what her name was in the show, but this is Christopher's mom because she's eyeballing Dickie at the funeral. She's eyeballing Dickie. There's Tony beating somebody up again. Tony's always beating somebody up. Boom. There they go. I'm not saying that's when Christopher is conceived, but this is the beginning of the relationship that creates Christopher Moltisanti. That's his mother. That's Dickie, his pops. A lot of gangster shit with the quick shots, things exploding, guns cocking. Good cinematography, man. The movie looks great. Okay, this part right here, that's Tony. That's Tony, and that's his crew. All right? From what I know of the show, they can only be a handful of people. I believe Jackie Aprile has to be one of them. Jackie Aprile has to be one, right? You got Tony. You got Silvio Dante. You got Ralph Cifaretto, who was played by the guy who played Cypher in The Matrix, Joe Pantoliano. Ralph Cifaretto, all right? And then the fifth person it's a toss-up. It could be Artie Bucco, who wasn't even... Artie Bucco's a chef who owns a restaurant, but he's Tony's best friend. He was never involved in any of this, but he did run with them when they were kids. He did hang out with them. So one of these people could be Artie Bucco. You might have Tony B, his cousin. I think that's the four. The four are Jackie Aprile, Ralph Cifaretto, Tony B, and Silvio Dante. Of course, Artie Bucco could be in there. Artie Bucco was just a friend of his. That's why I'm leaning towards the other four.
As far as your nephew goes,
A lot of action. A lot of action is going to be in this movie. And it doesn't look like that mob movie action where everything is like simple and quick and drawn out. Usually like a bullet to the back of the head or something like that. This looks like it has some actual action in it. Explosions and car chases and shootouts. Action movie shit. Not gangster movie shit. But I'm here for it.
I'm listening.
stay out of his life.
That looks like prison. That looks like it's prison because you got the high ceilings. It looks like there's some bars on there. I think Hollywood Dickie got locked up already. In the beginning of this movie, or, you know, close to the middle, Hollywood Dickie gets locked up and somebody's got to take over. I think that's where Dickie comes in.
Stay out of his life.
But he clearly also wants to honor Johnny Boy's wishes and not have Tony be part of this life. He told him, stay the fuck away from Tony. And you see the gentle nod from. I like this guy's performance. You can tell that he fears this guy. Just with that little nod, like, watch him. See that? He's nodding like, of course, whatever you say. But there's also some fear in that because he knows he's going to completely disobey him. Completely disobey him. Then it leads into the original theme song by Alabama 3. Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Fall 2021. My only complaint so far about everything, because I think the trailer's phenomenal, is that it's a movie and not a show. I would love to see this carry on for, 6-7 seasons like the original Sopranos did. But hopefully it does good enough to render a sequel. And let's get 2 or 3 movies leading up to, when Tony comes up. And right up until when we can't use Michael Gandolfini to play him anymore. But that's it, man. This trailer is phenomenal. I'm very, very anxious for this movie. I can't wait for it to come out. And real quick, we're going to go through the whole cast. We got Michael Gandolfini as Tony Soprano, Vera Farmiga, Olivia Soprano. We got Billy Magnuson as Paulie Walnuts Galtieri, Alessandro Nivola as Dickie Moltisanti. That dude looks like a great actor. You got John Bernthal, who I know is a great actor. They're not even saying who he is, but I know he's Johnny Boy Soprano. They got John Magaro as Silvio Dante. I don't see it. I still think it's that little guy in the beginning of the trailer. Then you got Ray Liotta. They're not saying who he is. Again, I think it's Hollywood Dickie Moltisanti. Then you got Corey Stoll as Junior Soprano, Uncle June Corrado. You got Leslie Margarita as Iris Balducci. I think that is Christopher's mom, Dickie Moltisanti's love interest, who becomes Christopher's mom. Gabriella Piazza, they're not saying who that is. You got Leslie Odom Jr., they're not saying who that is. Matea Conforti as young Janice Soprano, so they're definitely going to have Janice Soprano in there. Joey Diaz, no character name. Michael DeRossi, no character name. Daryl Edwards is Julius, just Julius. Don't know what that means. Nick Vallelonga, no name there. Alexandra Intrater, older Janice Soprano. That's interesting because that means that they're going to show them as little kids too, and then they're going to jump to teenagers. Then you got Stephanie Perpuri as Gumar. Gumar's not a name. Gumar just means girlfriend. Like basically they got the side chick, little side pieces on the side. That's a Gumar. Then you got Chase Vaknin, no name. Lori Pizzo, mob wife. Spencer Grenice. Beansy. Beansy is another connected guy. Not exactly part of the Soprano family, but they do business with him. And he's a recurring character throughout the whole series. He gets done pretty dirty, but not by the Sopranos, by somebody else. Alex Morph, cop. Matteo Russo, young Artie Bucco. So Artie Bucco is in the movie, and Artie Bucco is a character, man. He's not a gangster by far, but he's a funny character. Then you got William Ludwig as young Tony Soprano. So yeah, that goes to, you know, little shorties before they jump up to being, you know, the character that Michael Gandolfini plays, which is teenage Tony. Then you got John Ruggiero as Johnny Bookie. You got Carrie Compere as Crying Mother. Tatiana Hendricks Tellefson as Paulie's Gumar. You got Lizzie Plimpton as Softball Mom. Sasha Morpha as Frank Lucas's female. Frank Lucas is female, so Frank Lucas is in the movie? Because that would be crazy if they're bringing in like real life people in with this fictitious world. You know, this is all fiction, but I mean, Frank Lucas was a real guy. That's nonfiction. So I'm curious about that. Mariana Palmer, steamship passenger. Samson Mocchiola, no name. Andrea Ryan, mob wife. Riley Machado as herself. I don't know who that is. Farron Salisbury, National Guardsman. So the list goes on, and this is like extras and supporting cast, like very supporting cast. People you'll probably only see like once in the movie. But damn, this movie looks fire. I cannot wait. It's like a little over a month until it comes out. Bro, let's go. I'm probably going to watch it in the theater just to support it because I want to see some sequels. And I'm going to come home and I'm going to watch it on HBO Max as well because it's going to premiere on both. Let me know, man. Are you as hype about this as I am? Was I wrong about the people I was talking about? Was I wrong about anything on this thing? Do you still believe that Max Magaro is going to be Silvio Dante? Or do you think it's a misdirect, a mislead, like what I believe? Do you believe Ray Liotta's Hollywood Dickie? Because I swear that I'd put money on it right now. Might get my legs broken if I bet too much and can't pay. But I put money on it. Where's my bookie's phone number? I gotta call him up because I'm betting on this. That wraps up this video. I know it was a little long. All good. I love talking about The Sopranos. I'm very excited about this show. Let me know in the comments if I was wrong about anything or if you're excited as me. My comments are wide open. Till then, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. All the YouTube things, all the social media things. Let's go, Ciphermaniacs. Let's make this channel pop the way it needs to. Alright? One love. Peace.
They call me Lucky Left Hand, I got a swing. Cypher Soprano, boom, bada bing. You know this is not a thing. Holla, bring dollars to the king. If you fly straight and don't sing, then I'll string you under my wing. But rap cats are like rats acting like dogs barking. Talk shit, get the fuck up my car and start walking. At war, bar hopping, I play the hawk watching. They get the shots popping and no, I am not stopping.